Hello, y'all. It's your boy MC Squared. Oh my gosh, this stupid YouTube stuff. All right, guys. I actually am kind of in the mud of it because I have a lot of footage of Street Fighter 6. I'll be putting a lot more of the footage, and so here, you know what? I'll give you a sneak peek at some of the things I'm doing. So, funny story. Capcom put out their earnings or fiscal year report on what they're deciding to do, and there seems to be a lot of rhetoric that, um, yeah, that Street Fighter 6 may not be coming out in February. And so I was one of the people, forget one of the people, I was saying this on my channel that I believe, I predicted or hypothesized, as I like to say sometimes, that this game is going to come out in, February, around there, February, March time for, next year. But it looks like that may not be the case, as it's showing, or they're saying that Capcom is only thinking of really releasing the one major title, and we know what title that is, and it's Resident Evil 4. So, uh, remake. And so most likely means Street Fighter 6 is not launching in February, which is a little weird. The game definitely looks a lot further along than anything I've ever seen before. Like this is I gotta say this game's looking like holy this Street Fighter 6 so far of what they've shown us puts other games at shame for the kind of quality it has at this stage. Yet the game seems to not be ready in the time frame that we would typically expect a main game fighting game title to come out for. So that's really the weirdest thing about it all. Excuse me there, but yeah. So yeah, it's most likely not coming out in February. It is probably more closer to like between April and June or April and July. Uh, and I think next year is going to be really tight for fighting games because now we do know NetherRealm is cooking something. We don't know what they're planning or when it's going to drop. We just know that they're cooking something. And for sure, we know already about help me out here, the main title for Tekken 8. So yeah, there we go. So you know what I mean? Like a little tight, starting to get a little tight in the fighting game space. So you know, Street Fighter 6 releasing at that time frame is already really weird, really weird. But hey, if the game needs that time, it needs that time, and I'm thinking the main culprit is honestly gonna be most likely the world tour, and I mean it makes sense, right? Street Fighter 5 just released bare bones. It was not a good release. All right, we don't need to go over that and beat a dead horse. It's, you know what I mean? Like we don't need to keep doing that. But we know what Street Fighter 5 state was, and yes, we know what it came to. But if it had that quality from the beginning, where could it be now? And that's what we're kind of looking at, or even kind of this is what we're basically looking at from Street Fighter 6. Because my impression of Street Fighter 6 is that this game is done in the oven. Like, do your polishes and drop this game like because what are we waiting for? Um, and then to see that the game is probably a lot further out. Yikes! What's going on? And that's probably due to the internal develop delays, excuse me, and probably also due to COVID because COVID delayed every studio, even the one I worked at. So, um, yeah, most likely just all about a lot of that delay. Excuse me there again. But hey, I mean, um, you know, it's to be expected with the delays, but I mean, it's kind of interesting that it's not coming out in that time frame. But yeah, the main culprit I think is the world tour because you have to have these characters working in tandem with the world tour and the fighting grounds that we play in the two in that 1v1 space, right? So that's probably the main issue there because where else is the issue? Like, I really don't see it at this point for Street Fighter 6. It looks very polished, guys. It looks very polished. So if World Tour, in my opinion, I think is the World Tour is the problem. Trust me, I think that's the problem. Not that it's a problem because it's gonna give the game more content for people to play and have fun. But playing the game in in that 2D platform space, it was excellent. It was excellent. It was a very fun game. It's kind of like, that Dave Chappelle skit, Any got any more of that Street Fighter 6, you know what I'm talking about? It was really good. It's a really good, it was really fun. Okay, it was really fun. So yeah, I think that because, World Tour is taking that long, it's most likely due to because of the process and probably creating these characters. Once they create these characters, they have to have their whatever functionality in World Tour. We don't know how that kind of looks like too much yet. We have an idea that you walk as your character, you create a character, you go to these different places in World Tour, so they're developing cities and whatnot where you travel with your character in World Tour to these masters, being the characters in Street Fighter 6, and you can learn from them their abilities and then bring it to your character. So you know what I mean? That's a lot already, and you're mixing this all together in that space.
Now, to just kind of get you guys on what I mean is about the the release date for Street Fighter 6 is next year is tight. I mean, it's tight, and so the release date for Street Fighter 6 being like anywhere after April for me is worrying, because although yeah I have nothing but confidence that this game will do well. I just don't think we need to be encroaching or putting the game in a position to, get close to other release dates. And what I mean is, well, we do know that next year has got some top tier games coming out, even in the fighting game sector, right? We know that the Project L is in the horizon, sure, right? There's no guarantee it's coming out next year, but it'll be likely in some sort of playable form, maybe even in a closed beta or something. And any game on the horizon will already start to trickle away at the potential for other games, right? It's happened before. And we still are waiting for that NetherRealm announcement. As much as Ed Boon has been quiet on that, I mean, the industry knows that they're gonna be saying something soon, and he himself has said on Twitter, yeah, we are working on something. Well, forget Twitter. He had an interview where he said, hey, we are working on something, but people will understand why it took us this long, but we do have something in the works, and when we're ready to announce it, we will share it with everyone. The aim for that is probably, who knows, obviously, but it probably is the Game Awards, because, I mean, the last Mortal Kombat that they announced, right, 11, was announced at the Game Awards, so don't be surprised if that's the same case. However, NetherRealm is very known, right? Not only when they announced the game, they released the game within a few months, but their target release date is usually around April. So, you see what I mean? Why not only did people expect Street Fighter 6 to release in February, not just because, yeah, it's Capcom's motif to release their big titles in February for fighting games. Not only did they had their fiscal year report saying they were going to release multiple games in this fiscal year, in April, releasing a Street Fighter 6, possibly. It is Street Fighter 6, but it's in multiple titles, so people expected one of them to be Street Fighter 6. Not only does the game itself look prepared, well prepared, and early leaks for Capcom's release dates had already Street Fighter 6 to be released by this time this year. It was supposed to be out. which is why we got a whole season for Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 5, excuse me, a whole extra season with the extra characters and stuff, because they knew that they were running, not running behind, but they knew the game was going to be a little bit more delayed, so they wanted to release another season to help, bridge the gap between the games. So not only all those things are in effect that we expected the game to release in February, but you don't usually want to release in a time frame of other games. So yeah, it made complete sense, and it should have been, in my opinion, released in February. And I mean, who knows? It could still probably release in February. I don't know. Like I said, I heard reports that in Capcom, they're very happy how the beta went. I don't know if they found any bugs or anything. I don't know that kind of shit. I just know that they seem to be very happy, and yeah, hopefully, hopefully they could bring it up a bit, and they probably should think about it. And you know what? They probably are thinking about that. Who knows? But I know for Capcom, and you're looking at the industry, you have to be looking at what everyone else is doing. We know that NetherRealm is going to be releasing something, and they usually target April. We know that Tekken 8 is coming out next year. Sure, they usually target November, but hey, we've seen them release in July and even in February. So, I mean, right? Like, July, November, and February is the dates that I've usually seen for Bamco when it comes to Tekken. So those are the dates I've seen. In the last few years, though, with their big titles, it was November. With the big Tekken titles, it was mostly November. And the one time they didn't was because Street Fighter game wasn't releasing at that time for the big ones. So they released, I think it was Tekken 6 or Tekken 5 or something like that, and in the February. That was a while ago now, so whatever. But this, next year is insane. It's too huge. I don't think y'all should be getting anywhere near any other dates but the time frame you should be doing, which is February. So I am just concerned now, because the game deserves to be selling the way fucking Mortal Kombat 11 did. But now the game could be in trouble again. So it's like, you know what I mean? You had such a good game, please do everything right to make sure it can sell well. And so to make sure as a fighting game you sell well, not only are you providing that AAA quality, amazing, but you also need to stay away from the other fighting games, because it's such a close-knit, tight market already. And sure, that advertising and whatnot could help out by wooing everyone else in other markets to try to help bring in other new people. Obviously, that's how you make the sales anyway, right? If the FGC is already so small, obviously you're trying to woo not only just like 90% the FGC, you want to woo all the people who just usually buy a fighting game every like 3 fucking years. You want to woo those people over. I get it, but I mean, Mortal Kombat in the same year? You better be at the end of the other year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it may not be Mortal Kombat, I know, but like, it's NetherRealm, so that already carries some weight. Even though Injustice may have not sold the way Mortal Kombat did, still, right? Still. And then, like I said, you had the project out on the horizon, some playable form, Tekken 8, and Harada had predictions that the Virtua game possible too. Well, he didn't particularly say Virtua, but he did say they were kind of having the same development cycle as his company seems to have, and he thinks that obviously they're keeping it close knit, but he feels that there's a possibility that we could release the same thing around the time. So, yeah, folks, it's going to be next year is going to be another year for fighting games. It's going to probably be the golden year. It could be the last best year for fighting games. Who knows? Or it could be the beginning of something amazing. Right? It really could. And that's why I also think that Riot is joining the industry for fighting games, because, hell, they've killed all these other markets, and maybe not killed in terms of, like, gotten rid of all of the competition, but not only are they thriving, or they're doing just as well, right? Valorant and Counter-Strike are about neck and neck. Valorant's a little bit more exciting, obviously, for viewers, so maybe in the viewer area it could take a hit there, but I know, Counter-Strike's been going on for so long. League of Legends is the MOBA. Yeah, sure, Dota's doing well, but come on. Sure, Dota might be giving out a lot of money, and so, like, to be a Dota champion, it's nothing to, it's nothing to sneeze at. At the same time, in the greater markets, you look at League of Legends, well, it's a bigger market, right? And so it's if Riot comes in, there's a good chance that they might do the same thing. They've so far haven't missed. If they miss in the FGC, trust me, there is something to say about the FGC. At that point, if Riot comes in the FGC, they release Gold. It's amazing ass game. Maybe it has everything it needs to be a perfect online free to play experience, and people still don't come out in droves or join tournaments for it. There's something to say about the FGC. At that point, it's like you can't be saved. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, it'd be hilarious. But so that's what I think, everyone. Okay, so yeah, I'm just now a little bit more concerned. I do think most games, all games, I'm always on the side of give games the time it needs to be the best it can be. So I'm always a fan of the delay. However, being in the industry on the dev side and also being a player, enjoying the craft and playing it as a, just playing it as a consumer. At the same time, I can see where the business side starts to come in, and it's like, whoa, maybe this game should be coming out now. Should be delayed. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe the game needs to be better in order to hit the market better. The whole shebang, right? And so, I think release time is going to be the downfall of Street Fighter 6 if it happens. You know what I mean? If the downfall of Street Fighter 6 actually happens, it's going to be the release time. Because as a game with features in it, is too amazing not to look at it and be like, well, you clearly have outdone yourselves in that area when it comes to Street Fighter 5. Like, you not that good for Street Fighter 5, you're definitely doing it for Street Fighter 6. So, anyways, that's my thoughts. I hope it does well. Right? Whenever it comes out, I hope it does well. Obviously, it has my buy. I'm gonna do my best, obviously, to compete in it. Hey, jeez. Alright, I'm going to cut it out. I don't want to cough all the time. But, alright, folks, I'll see you all soon. I'll be actually playing God of War next week, so check out my stream for that. I won't be playing it through the entire, on stream and everything. I'm going to be here when I'm not, and there when, you know what I mean? I'll play it whenever. You're going to be watching who you want to watch. I am focused on the fighting games, but I'm going to enjoy playing some other games, out there for y'all. So, anyway. Take care, have fun, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Be there or be squared. Peace.